everybody, Diane here to talk to you a little bit about a book I'm reading right now. It's called The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker with a B as in boy. And it's one of many books that have been written within the past 5 or 6 years that novelize Greek mythology. We've heard of Circe, if you've read that. This was one of my favorite books a few years ago. This is an example and a read-alike for you by Madeline Miller. Her other book is called Song of Achilles. That is also of the same theme. So The Silence of the Girls is a novelization of part of the Iliad. So some of you may have read that in high school or college. This one tells the story of Briseis, who used to be a queen, and she was given to Achilles as a prize after a battle. She saw her father, her husband killed, her brothers killed, and then she was given as a prize and became a slave and a concubine. And that happened a lot during in Greek mythology. So we see a lot of characters that we know from mythology, like Achilles, like Agamemnon, Helen of Troy is mentioned. Briseis is a minor character, but it's really interesting to see how this novel progresses and what is imagined as Briseis' life after she's taken. Highly recommend the book. It's for my book group tomorrow night, so we may have a good discussion about it. Thanks very much.
Hi, my name is Patty Pennick, and I am Head of Youth Services at the Goffstown Public Library. And today I'm bringing to you some of my favorite new nonfiction books about oceans and the creatures that live in them. This summer, our theme for our summer programming was Oceans of Possibilities. So I really shored up, no pun intended, to our collection of books about the oceans and creatures, and I'm going to share a few of them with you. The first one, and sounds really exciting, doesn't it? Giant squid. Everything you ever wanted to know about giant squid. They are very interesting looking, indeed, look a little bit like the octopus, but that's giant squid. This is a really neat one. It's called If You Want to Visit a Sea Garden. We don't think about gardens, at least I don't, being under the water, but this book has some lovely pictures and great information about sea gardens. The next one is called The World of Ocean Animals, Octopuses. And yes, I have confirmed that octopuses is the accepted way of referring to plural octopus, so octopuses. Intriguing. This is one of my favorites. It's called Diving Deep, Using Machines to Explore the Ocean. So for those kids that love machines, and there are a lot of them out there, as well as the ocean, this is a really neat one to check out. And then my favorite, really, and I think probably most kids would love this one too, is part of the Gross Stuff collection, and it's called Gross Stuff Underwater. And even though I'm only talking about oceans right now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that there's also gross stuff in your body, gross stuff in your food, gross stuff in your school, and other titles like it. So please stop in and check out some of our nonfiction collection about oceans.
If, like me, you sometimes enjoy reading books about how to manage your time so you can read more books, I highly recommend 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman. He's an Englishman, and his thesis is that if you live to be 75 years old, you get 4,000 weeks. How are you going to fill it? Are you going to use productivity apps and keep special calendars and to-do lists? Or are you going to realize that there is a limit to what you can achieve and move forward from there? Really thought-provoking book. I highly recommend it.
Hey everyone, this is Rob from the Goffstown Public Library. This week I am recommending 5 Minutes Alone by Paul Cleave. If you've ever heard someone say, I wish I had 5 minutes alone with that person, read this and you'll find out what that really means. Highly recommend it, either this book or anything by this author. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Liz in Adult Services, and my pick of the week this week is one you may have heard of, the Sandman series, or more specifically, the Sandman comic book series, or even more specifically than that, the Sandman comic book series universe. You might have been hearing a lot about The Sandman recently. It's a new show on Netflix, and it's one of the biggest in the world right now. And it's based on a very, very famous series, comic book series called The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. If you're not familiar, it is about the King of Dreams, as he's been away from his kingdom for about 100 years, and he comes back to find everything's changed. And it's dark fantasy bordering on horror, and there is this huge cast of characters who sort of like drift in and out, and it's very much about the importance of dreams and the importance of stories, and I highly recommend it. But it's been so popular recently, you may have seen the TV show already. You may have read all 75 issues of The Sandman. But did you know there are even more issues in the Sandman universe? There are a whole lot of tie-ins, and we have quite a few of them here at the library. One of my favorites is, well, everyone's favorite character in the Sandman universe is Death's sister, or Dream's sister, Death. Spoilers. And so we have here Death, the deluxe edition. So Death is the star of quite a few issues of Sandman that are in here, as well as 2 limited series of her own. Death, The High Cost of Living, and Death, The Time of Your Life. All written by Neil Gaiman, with art by, wait for it, Chris Bachalo, Mark Buckingham, Mike Dringenberg, Colleen Durand, P. Craig Russell, Malcolm Jones III, Mark Pennington, Dave McKean, and Jeffrey Jones. So if you're a fan of Sandman, I highly recommend checking this out. And if you've already gotten through the TV show and all 75 issues of Sandman and this book, then I highly recommend you come back to the library and talk to me, because I've got even more recommendations for you.